Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking Ball podcast. I'm your host, Chase, and today we're going to be we're going to be wrapping up the NBA Finals. If you haven't heard already who won, we're going to be talking about that. We got 3 more games, so you can probably guess from the last time who won. We got some NFL football, another week of that, some college football, and then some news. And we'll see where we're at that point. Might have to do some top lists like I was doing and the last time I ran low on time. But first, we're gonna be talking about NBA games, the last few NBA games, NBA final games between the Lakers and the Heat. We talked about games 1 through 3 last time. And I'm about to be talking about the rest of them this time. So we're going to start off where we left off, and that was before Game 4. Excuse me. So Game 4, Heat lost by 6, 102-96. It was pretty even throughout the whole game. A couple mistakes here and there for the Heat. And the Lakers capitalized. Anthony Davis had 22 points, 9 rebounds, shot 50% from the field and 3. LeBron had 28 points, 12 rebounds, 50% from the field, 10 for 12 from the free throw line. Also with this game, he moved to 4th on the finals free throws made list, passing Elgin Baylor. And he also moved to 5th for finals games played, passing Tom Heinsohn from the Celtics. So 2 pretty big milestones for LeBron there, moving up in finals games played and finals free throws made. The Heat, they just didn't play well. Lost by 6. Well, they played well up until the final quarter. Jimmy Butler had 22 points, 10 rebounds, shot a little under 50%. Tyler Hero scored 21 points, 7 rebounds, shot 8 for 18, 3 for 7 threes. And he, in this game, broke the record for most threes made by a rookie in a playoff stretch, in a playoff run, with 44. He had 44 threes up until this game, and he obviously made some more in the next couple games, but he already passed it in this one. So the Lakers lead 3-1 after that one. We go to Game 5. The Heat sneak away with one, 111-108. This was the Danny Green missed shot, and then the Markieff Morris throwing it out of bounds, whatever he was doing, and I don't care. Danny Green said that he and his wife both received death threats from him missing that shot, which is, I laugh because it's just insane. Why would you ever do that to somebody just because they missed a shot? I guarantee 90% of people in the world couldn't have made that shot in their backyard, let alone in the NBA Finals with NBA players closing out on you. It wasn't the greatest pass, and even Danny said himself he rushed the shot, and it looked like he rushed the shot. But yeah, sending death threats to people and their family is ridiculous no matter what circumstance it is. It's not like the Heat were up 3 games and Danny Green missed it. Even then, still no excuse for that. No way. It's basketball, man. It's basketball. Unless you're betting a ton of money on a basketball game, which is stupid in the first place, then the Lakers losing this game doesn't affect you personally whatsoever. No basketball game does, unless you're betting a lot of money like an idiot. So, it's just a game, man. It's just basketball. Nobody sends you death threats when you miss your game-winning three at the rec league, and then your team loses. It's just a game. The Lakers losing this game didn't affect anybody personally unless they bet a bunch of money on it, which is idiotic in the first place. So, the death threats thing, ridiculous. But let's get back to the game. The Heat shot real well from 3, and that was a pretty even game throughout. The Lakers only lost by 3. With the Danny Green had a decent look, kind of rushed it, missed, fine, but and then they got the rebound. Markieff Morris decided to try to feed it inside to Anthony Davis, who was being covered by 3 people, and didn't work. And as for scoring, Anthony Davis had 28 points, 12 rebounds, shot a little over 50%, 8 for 8 from the line. And LeBron scored 40 points and 13 rebounds, shot 15 for 21, pretty efficient, and 6 for 9 from 3 for the King. He joins Jerry West as the only players ever to score 1,500 plus NBA Finals points. That's mostly because Jerry West played in 9 finals and LeBron has played in 10. So, yeah. You know, you play in more games, you're going to score more points. Jimmy Butler scored 35 points, 12... He had 35 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. 11 for 19 from the field, 12 for 12 from the line. Duncan Robinson scored 26 points in this one. He shot 7 for 13 three-pointers, and 8 for 15 from the field total. So he had 1 shot made that was not 3, and then 7 that were. Coach Spo, after this one, moved up to 7th in finals wins. So congrats to him. I think he moved up in a list last podcast too. But yeah, the Heat closed the gap a little, only going down 3-2 now, and going into Game 6. And going into Game 6, a lot of people couldn't watch past halftime. Now they only lost by 13, but it was as bad as 30-35 points at one point. The Heat got dismantled. Jimmy Butler didn't shoot much. Only shot 10 shots. And yeah, the Lakers won 106-93. And the Lakers win the championship 4-2. LeBron's 4th championship in 10 tries. But we'll talk about him a little bit later. Probably at the end, actually. That might be my little extra time when I talk about LeBron and Jordan. Anthony Davis in the finals win had 19 points, 15 rebounds, shot 8 for 17. Rondo played really well in the last game, had 19 points, 8 for 11 from the field, 3 for 4 3-pointers. And LeBron had 28 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 13 for 20 from the field, only 1 for 5 from 3. But he was the unanimous finals MVP. Now, at the beginning of the series, you could have made an argument for Anthony Davis, but after a couple, bad games per Anthony Davis standards, it was pretty easy to see that LeBron was going to get it after a 40-point triple-double, and now after another triple-double to seal the championship. So he wins Finals MVP, his 4th out of 4 championships. He joins... who was it? It was Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, and Kareem as the only players to win 4 rings, at least 4 rings, and 4 regular season MVPs, I think. Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about that later. Bam Adebayo played well, 25 points, 10 rebounds, shot well, and Jimmy Butler struggled. And he struggled, but also everybody else struggled because he was the second leading scorer behind Bam, and he had 12 points. He had 12 points, 8 assists, shot 5 for 10, and 1 for 3 from the free throw line. He got to the free throw line 3 times, and only shot 10 shots, which I thought was interesting. Jimmy Butler, in the game they won, the last game he had a 35-point triple-double. I don't know why he wasn't trying to go for that again. Because, you just scored 35-point triple-double. Why don't you try to take the ball and take it into your own hands and try to win the game to clinch the Game 7? But, he didn't perform. He didn't shoot the ball enough, I don't think. He says they're going to be back. I think they're a really good team. They're really young. They're really, if they develop their guys, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, Bam Adebayo, all those guys, and then you pair them with guys like, tough veteran players like Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, Kelly Olynyk, even. I'm sure Myers Leonard is a great mentor, coach kind of guy. And Goran Dragic as well. So that team's going to be pretty good. Are they going to repeat going to the finals? I don't know. They still have to go through Giannis again, and they're going to have to go through the Celtics again, or even the Sixers, or the Raptors. They're going to have to go through a good amount of teams. The East is no joke. The East is no joke, and the Heat coming out of the East was really shocking to a lot of people, and it's going to be shocking if they can do it again. Because, like I said, they got to go through those really good teams who also are developing their young guys, their young core. Giannis is just going to get better. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, all those guys are going to get better. All their young guys, Robert Williams, they're going to get better. The Raptors, Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, they're always getting better. OG Anunoby, all those guys, they're all going to get better. So, obviously the Heat are going to get better too, but it's just all about, if they can do it again. I don't know if they can, but Lakers win the finals. They now have the same amount of finals as the Celtics do. Sad. But either way, yeah, good for LeBron. He also becomes the first player, who we thought was going to be Kawhi, to win a championship and Finals MVP for 3 different teams. He did it with the Heat. He did it with the Cavs and the Lakers, obviously. Him and Danny Green actually joined Robert Horry as the players to win a championship with 3 different teams. LeBron with those 2 teams, and then Danny Green with the Spurs. Lakers and Toronto. There we go. He played in Toronto last year. Okay, with that, that's NBA. For the rest of the podcast until next season, we're gonna be doing a lot of football. I think I'm gonna be trying to branch out on my YouTube channel in general. I get a lot of inspiration from a guy, another YouTuber, King of the Fourth Quarter. So I'm going to try to branch out my stuff and maybe try to do sports quizzes, maybe reacting to some highlights, stuff like that. Yeah. So let me know if you guys would like to see that. They're not going to be taking anything away from the podcast. It'll just be my other days off. Like, hey, I want to go record a video. Let's go do a quiz. We'll do a quiz or two, record it, see how I do, upload, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if you guys would like to see that. And let me know anything else you guys would like to see on the channel other than the podcast, because the podcast is just about done. Sorry, there's... Sorry. Some on my green screen. Anyways. Football time, I know. I need to get a football jersey, especially now since basketball's done. But yeah, I need to get a football jersey. But let's go to NFL games. Thursday game was Bucks-Bears. Tough loss for the Bucks, 19-20. Nick Foles beats Tom Brady once again. Excuse me. As the Bucks fall to 3-2. The Bucks had one interception off of Foles from Davis, and they had 3 sacks from Jason Pierre-Paul, Vita Vea, and Golston. Chris Godwin didn't play. I wasn't sure what it is. I think it's a hamstring issue. He should be back. I think he was a day-to-day guy, and he just couldn't go for this one. Tom Brady played well, 25 for 41. Okay, that's not too great. But 25 for 41 completion, 253 yards and a touchdown. Ronald Jones carried the ball 17 times for 106 yards. Tyler Johnson had 4 catches, 61 yards. Gronk had 3 catches, 52 yards. And Mike Evans had 5 catches, 41 yards and a touchdown. The Bears improve to 4-1 on this one. That's crazy. I would have never thought through 5 games the Bears would be 4-1. It's crazy. I definitely didn't pick them to win this one. I don't think really anybody picked them to win this one except Bears fans. But it is what it is. The Bears did have a fumble recovery from Quinn, and they had 3 sacks. Mack had 2 of them, and then Vaughters had 1. Wow. Sorry. Nick Foles. He played alright. He was 30 for 42, 243 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. David Montgomery had 10 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown. Allen Robinson had 10 catches for 90 yards, and then Jimmy Graham had 3 catches, 33 yards, and a touchdown. Panthers Falcons. Rough season start for the Falcons as they lose yet again. They didn't choke. They didn't choke anything. They didn't choke a lead. They never had a lead. At least I don't think. Maybe they were up like 10-0. The Panthers improved to 3-2. They have 1 interception off of Ryan from Burris and 2 sacks from Haynes and Burns. Teddy Bridgewater was 27 for 37, 313 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mike Davis had 16 carries for 89 yards. He also had 9 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. And then Robbie Anderson had 8 catches for 112 yards. And DJ Moore had 4 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. The Falcons fall to 0-5. I probably would have never guessed that the Falcons would be 0-5. I didn't think they were going to be good. Well, I don't know. I've never caught the Matt Ryan hype train. I've never understood it. He puts up numbers. That's because they pass all the time. They pass all game. They don't run the ball. They never did last year. Obviously, they have Todd Gurley this year, so they run the ball a fair bit now. But last year, I never thought the Falcons were a great team. I don't think Julio Jones played in this one. He might have and just never caught a pass. I'll look it up here. But, the Falcons fall to 0-5. And also, I just wanted to say that the Buffalo-Tennessee game, I will not be reporting on right now because it will be tonight. Because of, COVID stuff going on, it'll be tonight. And it wasn't on Sunday, so I will not be talking about that one this time. Julio either didn't play or didn't get targeted at all, but I don't think he played. I think Julio Jones is the second best wide receiver in the NFL behind DeAndre Hopkins. Not the season or anything. I just think overall wise and who I would want on my team perfectly 100% healthy. If I had to pick one receiver, it'd probably be Julio Jones and then DeAndre Hopkins. But yeah, Julio hasn't played much, and when he did get play, I don't think he caught the ball many times. I don't think he scored a touchdown this season, which is crazy for Julio and Matt Ryan. But Matt Ryan played mediocre. He played like a Mitch Trubisky game. I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry, Bears fans. He was 21 for 37, 226 yards and a pick. No touchdowns. And then Gurley had 14 carries, 121 yards and a touchdown. And then Calvin Ridley led the way in receptions with 8 catches, 136 yards. And nothing else worth to report on for the Falcons. It's just been a down season, a very unfortunate season after going to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Even though Falcons fans don't even want to, they probably want to pretend like they didn't even play in the Super Bowl because of what happened. All right, next game. Poor Falcons. Raiders-Chiefs. This was an interesting one. The Raiders hand the Chiefs their first loss. Crazy. I'm hopping on the Raiders bandwagon. Well, I hopped on the Raiders bandwagon before the season even started. Hey, I kind of hopped on it last year. I love Josh Jacobs. Derek Carr's awesome. I love Henry Ruggs. Even he wasn't there last year, but Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. They're gonna be top players in a couple years. And then you had Henry Ruggs, super fast deep threat, as we saw yesterday. He can go up and catch the ball for sure. But yeah, Raiders Chiefs. Tough loss for the Chiefs. but we're going to talk about the Raiders first. They improved to 3-2. They did intercept Patrick Mahomes, which was interesting to see. His first interception of the season. I'm pretty sure. And they sacked him 3 times. Lawson, Smith, and Max Crosby. I think Max Crosby is going to be a really good edge rusher one day as well. I mean, he already is. He had more sacks than Khalil Mack did last year, which is crazy. Derek Carr, he played pretty well. 22 for 31, 347 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Josh Jacobs played well. 23 carries, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Booker had 7 carries for 62 yards. Henry Ruggs had 2 catches, 118 yards, a touchdown. Nelson Aguilar had 2 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. And then Darren Waller had 5 catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown. The Chiefs get their first loss of the season, 4-1 for the Chiefs. They picked off Carr once. It was Bashaud Breeland. And Gay had a sack. Patrick Mahomes, he played good. Played well. Lost the game, but he played all right. He played good. 22 for 43. 50% completion isn't that great. I know it's like 51 or something, but that ain't that great. 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 6 carries, 21 yards, and a touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, however you say his name, had 10 carries for 40 yards. Tyreek Hill led the way in... he didn't lead the way in yards, but he had 3 catches, 78 yards. But he did carry the ball twice for 15 yards and a touchdown. And then Travis Kelce led the way. He had 8 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Sammy Watkins also caught a touchdown from Mahomes. All right. Cardinals-Jets. Man, the Jets. Cardinals won, as you can probably imagine, by 10, by 20, 30-10. It's the Jets. The Cardinals improved to 3-2. They had 3 sacks on Joe Flacco, who played in place of Sam Darnold. Budda Baker had 1, and then Gardeck had 2. Kyler Murray was 27 for 37, 380 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And he also had 9 carries for 31 yards and a touchdown. Kenyon Drake had 18 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. And Chase Edmonds had 3 carries, 36 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins had a monster game, 6 catches, 131 yards, and caught a touchdown. And Christian Kirk had 5 catches, 78 yards. The Cardinals are a good team. I think the Cardinals can make a case for the playoffs and maybe a conference championship game, or whatever they call it in the NFL. I don't know though. The Jets. The Jets are 0-5. Just like the Falcons. I don't really know what else to say. They're 0-5. They had 1 interception from Williamson and a sack from Franklin Myers. Joe Flacco, who played in place of Sam Darnold, was 18 for 33, 195 yards, and threw a touchdown. Le'Veon Bell, who was back, had 13 carries, 60 yards. And Jamison Crowder had 8 catches, 116 yards. And Joe Flacco's touchdown. Jets are bad. That's all I gotta say. It's going to be a rough year for New York fans in general. The Jets suck. The Giants suck. So, it's a tough day. Tough year so far for the state of New York. We're going to move on to Eagles-Steelers, though. The Steelers won by 9, 29-38. The Eagles fall. Yeah, they fall to 1-3-1. They obviously had the one tie with the Bengals. They had one fumble recovery from Crevon LeBlanc, and they had one sack where Fletcher Cox and Vernon Hargrave had a half each. Carson Wentz played meh. 20 for 35, 258 yards, and 2 touchdowns with 2 interceptions. And that brings his total for this year to 6 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on the year. It's been a tough year. He's thrown 2 interceptions in every game except against San Francisco, their only win. He's just had a rough year going, and man, Eagles fans, is it time to move on? Are you guys still high on this guy, or you guys still trust this guy? I don't know. He's 1-3-1. Yeah. I don't know. Are you guys still with him? Because he's injury prone. You won a Super Bowl. He brought you to a Super Bowl, but he didn't even win it. He brought you to the playoffs, and he didn't even win anything in the playoffs. Right? He got hurt before the playoffs started, and then Nick Foles came in and pooped on everybody, including Tom Brady. But yeah, I don't know. Is it time to move on? I know you guys got rid of Nick Foles, so it'd be kind of stupid to... I don't know who your backup is. But I don't know. Maybe... Oh, it's Jalen Hurts. Duh. Maybe it's time to give Hurts some. Maybe it's time to. You want to start Hurts next week? I don't know. I might think maybe. Maybe I'll start Hurts. See what happens. If Hurts gets me a win, not bad. But Carson Wentz is struggling, and that might even be an understatement. He's yeah. Moving on from Wentz, Miles Sanders had 11 carries, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Travis Fulgham had 10 catches, 152 yards, and a touchdown. It's actually really good for him. And Greg Ward had 4 catches, 26 yards, and 1 score. But yeah, the Eagles fans, what do you think? What do you think? Do you want to keep going with Wentz? Do you want to give Wentz another game? 2, 3, whole season? I don't know. He just hasn't played well at all. At all this season. He had 1 win. He still threw an interception in that win. And he only had 1 touchdown in that win. Who knows? Moving on to the Steelers, though, who... improved to 4-0. 4-0 for the Steelers. I like the Steelers. I think they're a good team. I think Big Ben is back in shape. I think you got good pieces around him with James Conner, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, James Washington, all these guys, Benny Snell even. They're all good guys. They're all good players that Big Ben can throw to, and he's been slinging it this year so far. They did have 2 interceptions. Steven Nelson had both of them. They had 5 sacks, one from Hilton, 1.5 from Tuitt. T.J. Watt had 1, Cam Hayward had 1, and Bud Dupree had the other half of Stephon Tuitt's sack. They're one of the best defenses in the league too. The Steelers. They seem to have a bunch of sacks all the time, and I believe the Steelers have only played teams under 500. So, are they beating good competition? I don't know. Yeah, Pittsburgh has the most sacks per game this season so far at 5 per game. Yeah. Last season they were also the best sacking team with 3.4. So the Steelers defense is really good, and like I said, they've played teams that maybe aren't the best teams in the world. Let's see. They played the Giants. Beat the Giants. They played the Broncos, where they hurt, not on purpose, but they hurt Drew Lock early in the game. They played the, at the time, 0-2 Texans with the worst coach GM combo in the history of football. Then they had a bye, and then they played the 2-1 Eagles. So yeah, maybe not the strongest, but it looks like they have a pretty strong schedule after that. They play the Browns, who are 4-1. The Titans are a good team. The Ravens obviously are really good. The Cowboys are good. The Bengals suck. Jags suck. And then they play the Ravens again. Washington sucks. The Bills are really good. The Bengals. Colts are alright. And then the Browns again. So, yes, their first 4 games have not been the most impressive wins. I'd say the Houston, even though Houston is below 500, we know Houston. It's Deshaun Watson still, Will Fuller. And their defense. So they're not bad, but, at the time they're bad. And they're under 500. So all 4 Steelers wins, yes, they're from under 500 teams. Including a winless team. 2 winless teams. At least when they played them. Okay. I didn't go through the stats for the Steelers, though. Big Ben, 27 for 34. 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. McLeod had 2 carries for 63 yards, and James Conner had 15 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. Chase Claypool, their rookie, had a game of his career, game of his life so far in his career. 7 catches, 110 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had 3 carries for 6 yards, and he had a rushing touchdown. So he had 4 total touchdowns, 116 total yards. Really good on 10 touches. Really, really good game for him. And he's their new deep threat. You got your speed guys, Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith, James Washington, and then they're smaller, quicker, faster guys who are gonna get you. Juju can go up and catch for sure. But Claypool just brings another vertical aspect to the Steelers receivers, which is really good for them, because they really haven't had a vertical target since, who? Hines Ward? maybe Santonio Holmes. You know, obviously they've had great receivers, Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown's 5'10". He's as tall as me. So, you know, he wasn't he was a vertical threat just because of his speed and he could get past people, but he wasn't a throw up the ball in one-on-one coverage who can go up and get it. I'm sure he could, you know, but Chase Claypool, tall, quick, strong receiver, can go up and catch those passes in one-on-one coverage. Really good for Big Ben. Yeah. Rams, Washington. Washington loses by 20, 30-10. I'm going to start speeding it up a little bit. Rams improved to 4-1. They sacked Washington 8 times. 8 times. DJ Reader had 3 of them. Aaron Donald had 4 of them. And Poe Light had 1. Jared Goff, 21 for 30, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He also had 3 carries for 0 yards, but a touchdown. Interesting. Cam Akers, 9 carries for 61 yards. Henderson had 15 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 3 catches for 30 yards and a touchdown. And Robert Woods had 4 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown. For Washington, they fall to 1-4. They did have a pick from Kyle Fuller and a sack from Montez Sweat. Kyle Allen was 9 for 13. They benched Dwayne Haskins. By the way, Dwayne Haskins did not start this game. Kyle Allen started. He was 9 for 13, 74 yards, 1 carry, 7 yards, a touchdown. He ended up getting injured. Alex Smith, the man. I don't care if he doesn't play another snap. He's comeback player of the year. He took a big Aaron Donald jumping on his back. Y'all saw that? Aaron Donald jumped on this man's back after he broke his entire leg. But Alex Smith was 9 for 17, 37 yards. And I believe he was sacked 4 times. 3 of them by Aaron Donald. Yeah, I don't care if he takes another snap, which sounds like he might, because Haskins been benched and Allen's hurt. So, he might. But comeback player of the year already. I don't care. I don't want to hear anybody else. That was about it for them. Ravens, Bengals. Bengals got destroyed 27-3. Bengals fall to 1-3-1. They had an interception from Wilson, and Carlos Dunlap had a sack on Lamar. Joe Burrow played okay, 19 for 30, 183 yards and a pick. Joe Mixon, 24 carries, 59 yards, and T. Higgins, 4 catches, 62 yards. The Ravens improved to 4-1. They had 2 fumble recoveries, both from Patrick Queen, who returned one of them for a touchdown. And they sacked Joe Burrow 7 times with 7 different people. One from Patrick Queen, Clark, Pernell McPhee, Marlon Humphrey, Elliott, Peters, and Smith. All had a sack each. Lamar Jackson, 19 for 37, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Mark Ingram had 11 carries for 57 yards. Marquise Brown had 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. And then Mark Andrews had 6 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Jags-Texans. Texans finally get their first win as the Jags fall to 1-4. The Texans won 30-14. The Jags fall to 1-4. They did have 2 interceptions, one from Wilson, one from Jones, and they sacked Watson once. Smoot. Minshew was 31 for 49, 301 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Their rookie runner, James Robinson, played okay, 13 carries, 48 yards. Chenault had 7 catches, 79 yards, and then Keelan Cole and Johnson had 1 touchdown each from Minshew. The Texans get their first win after firing Bill O'Brien. 2 fumble recoveries, one from Watt, one from Merciless. And they had 4 sacks, one from Cunningham, one from Martin, Merciless. And then they had a team sack. 3+ players converged. Deshaun Watson played all right, 25 for 35, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, though. David Johnson, 17 carries, 96 yards, almost 100. Brandon Cooks, 8 catches, 161 yards, and a touchdown. Will Fuller, 4 catches, for 58 yards and a touchdown. And Darren Fells had 57 yards and a touchdown. So Texans look to be back on track. They did beat the Jaguars, so, you know. The Dolphins. Dolphins rout the 49ers. Absolutely dismantled. 43-17. The Dolphins improve to 2-3. Christian Wilkins had a fumble recovery. They had 2 interceptions, one from Xavier Howard and one from Brian McCain. And they had 5 sacks, one from Baker, Van Ginkel, Ogba, Roberts, and Seiler. All had a sack each. Ryan Fitzpatrick played really well. 22 for 28, 350 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Myles Gaskin had 16 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Preston Williams, 4 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown. Devontae Parker, 2 catches, 50 yards, and a score. And then Shaheen had 1 catch, 3 yards, 1 touchdown. The 49ers, abysmal game. They fall to 2-3 after, I believe, going 2-0. I think they've lost their 3rd straight. Quan Alexander and Hyder Jr. had a sack each. Garoppolo, he was 7 for 17, 77 yards, and 2 interceptions when he got benched for C.J. Beathard, who came in through 9 for 18, 94 yards, and a touchdown. You know, Garoppolo coming off that ankle injury, did it affect his game? Maybe. Is that why they benched him? Was it hurting him? Maybe. But either way, he played really bad, so he got benched. Mostert had 11 carries for 90 yards. And then Kyle Juszczyk had 2 carries, 11 yards, and a touchdown. Kendrick Bourne had the lone touchdown from Beathard on his 2 catches for 30 yards. Colts-Browns. I'm zooming out. Why am I doing that? Colts-Browns. This was a decent game. The Colts lose 23-32. And they fall to 3-2. They won 3 in a row before losing this one to the Browns. And, yeah, the Colts had 2 interceptions, one from Walker and one from Okereke. They also had a sack from Muhammad. And Rodgers had a kick return for a touchdown. Phillip Rivers played not good. 21 for 33, 243 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. The Colts coach said he has no plans, no thought of benching Phillip Rivers. You know, I agree. I don't know. Their backups, Jacoby Brissett. Rivers had a bad game. That's fine. He's also led him to 3 wins in a row. That's fine. He just had a bad game. Jonathan Taylor had 12 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. And then T.Y. Hilton had 6 catches for 69 yards. The Browns improved to 4-1, first time since the 90s, and it's the first time since Bill Belichick coached the Browns. Was the last time they went 4-1. They had 2 interceptions, one from Harrison Jr. for a touchdown, and one from Redwine, and then Myles Garrett had 1 sack. Baker Mayfield played all right, 21 for 37, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kareem Hunt, who's filling in for the injured Nick Chubb for the next 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. 20 carries, 72 yards, 3 catches, 21 yards, and a touchdown. Landry had 4 catches, 88 yards. OBJ had 5 catches, 58 yards. And Rashad Higgins had 31 yards and a touchdown. The dreaded game I was waiting for. Cowboys-Giants. We're talk about the Giants first, and then we'll get to the Cowboys. But the Giants lose 34-37. Close game, I know. Giants fall to 0-5, though. They did have one fumble recovery from Martinez, one interception from Fackrell, and 2 sacks, one from Tomlinson, and then a half from Holmes and a half from Golden. Daniel Jones, he didn't turn the ball over, but he was 20 for 33, 222 yards. Devontae Freeman had 17 carries, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Evan Ingram had 2 carries, 9 yards, and a touchdown. And then Slayton had a good game, 8 catches, 129 yards. And the Cowboys, they avoid falling to 1-4. They would have had the same record as the Giants. On a game-winning field goal set up by Andy Dalton. They won from recovery from Brown, 2 sacks, half from Alton Smith, half from Griffin, and then Lawrence had a sack. Dak Prescott was 14 for 21, 166 yards and a touchdown, and he did have 1 catch for a touchdown. After he put up those stats, he had a very, very scary injury, and it was as bad as it looks. It was a fracture and dislocation of his right ankle. He did have surgery yesterday, and it is a 4 to 6 month recovery time for Dak. So tough break for the Cowboys, although, honestly, they do have the best backup quarterback in the league. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is your backup quarterback. That's pretty good. Starter for 7-8 years? I can't remember. Now he plays backup. He was 9 for 11 for 111 yards and had a great pass to Michael Gallup to set up the game-winning field goal. CeeDee Lamb had 8 catches, 124 yards, and Gallup had 4 catches for 73. And Cedric Wilson was the one who threw the touchdown pass to Dak Prescott. So that's cool. But yeah, Giants win, improved to 2-3. I think I said that. But they avoid the loss. Vikings Seahawks. Typical Seahawks fashion. They just got to give their fans a heart attack every week. They win 26-27. Russell Wilson led the comeback in the fourth quarter, and they were down 26-20 with less than 2 minutes to go, and Russ led that 2-minute drive and led them to the win. The Vikings fall to 1-4. They did intercept Wilson once, and it was Wilson who intercepted Wilson. Wow. They also had 4 sacks, one from Lynch, Ngakoue, Obenbo, and Wilson. Kirk Cousins, 27 for 39, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. They didn't play terrible. Alexander Madison had 20 carries for 112 yards. Dalvin Cook had 17 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown. He did hurt his groin at one point in the game, but he did come back and enter the game. So it must have been just a little pull that he was able to stretch out, rub out, whatever he had to do. Roll out, whatever. Adam Thielen had 9 catches, 80 yards, and both of Cousins' touchdowns. The Seahawks improved to 5-0, undefeated. They had 1 fumble recovery from KJ Wright, and KJ Wright also had an interception, a one-handed interception, which is really cool. Cool story about KJ Wright. I don't know if I've said this. I probably have if I've ever mentioned him, but I met him. I met him once at a football camp. I met him and another practice squad guy. It was a Laura Malloy camp, so I met Laura Malloy. And the year before, I met Golden Tate when he played for the Seahawks. So that was pretty cool. But back to the game. The They had 3 sacks also from Collier, Moore, and Mayowa. Russell Wilson played really well, minus the interception. 20 for 32, 217 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the interception. And he had 5 carries for 58 yards. Chris Carson had 8 carries, 52 yards, and a touchdown. DK Metcalf had 6 catches, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Disley had 1 catch, 19 yards, and a touchdown. So yeah, undefeated Seahawks. And Russ is playing like the MVP, man. What else can I say? Chargers Saints. This was a good game. Although I would have loved to see it go the other way. The Chargers lose 27-30 in overtime. The Chargers kicker, Badgley, missed the game-winning field goal with 5 seconds left. It was a 50-yarder, and he doinked it off the upright. So I'm not gonna dog him. You know, guys have missed 30-yard field goals, 20-yard field goals. It was a 50-yarder for the win after being iced, and he barely hit the upright. Like, come on. You know, you gotta cut him some slack. They went to overtime, and they ended up losing. The Saints got a field goal, and then the Chargers could not capitalize on their possession. They turned the ball over on downs, and the Saints won. The Chargers fall to 1-4. They had 1 interception off Breeze from Adderley, and 2 sacks, 1 from Bosa and 1 from Nwasu. Justin Herbert. Oh, I should also say Austin Eckler did not play. A bunch of defensive guys also did not play. A bunch of linemen did not play. The Chargers are missing a lot of guys. And they still took the Saints to overtime. Herbert was 20 for 34, 264 yards and 4 touchdowns. He played amazing. That's actually the most touchdowns for a rookie quarterback on Monday Night Football in NFL history. He does fall to 0-4 as a starter, all decided by 7 or less, taking the Saints and the Chiefs to overtime, losing by 3 in both those games. Justin Jackson had 15 carries, 71 yards. Mike Williams, who had some amazing catches last night. It was insane. 5 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Hunter Henry had 23 yards and a touchdown. And Keenan Allen had 29 yards and a touchdown. And he hurt his back after that. And he actually was carted to the locker room and did not return. The Saints improved to 3-2. They had 3 sacks. Hendrickson had 1.5. Rankins had 1, and Cam Jordan had a half. Michael Thomas didn't play. He was disciplined. He got into an altercation where he threw a punch at a cornerback in practice. So Sean Payton thought the right thing to do was to bench him and not let him play. Fair enough. Breeze was 33 for 47, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also had 1 rush for a yard and a touchdown. Kamara had 11 carries for 45 yards and 8 catches for 74. Taysom Hill had 3 carries for 13 yards and a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders had 12 catches, 122 yards, and Jared Cook had 52 yards and Breeze's touchdown on a 41-yard little corner route. So good game for the Saints. Good game for Justin Herbert. Tough loss. Another tough loss for Herbert. But I like Justin Herbert. He played insane. 264 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. He played crazy. Maybe he missed a couple passes here and there, but hey, everybody does, and he's a rookie quarterback. I'm not going to fault him for it. Alright, that's all for football this week. We got some news, and then some NCAA football, a couple upsets here and there. Drew Holiday Drew Holiday was named Teammate of the Year in the NBA. Cool, interesting award for him. I like Drew Holiday. He's one of the better defending guards in the league for sure. And yeah, he's definitely one of the best defenders at the guard position. LeBron is the first player to win Finals MVP in three different teams. I was talking about that. He capped Lakers. Kristaps Porzingis underwent successful surgery on a tear in his meniscus. Should be good to go next season. Billy Donovan and the Bulls fired 4 assistant coaches that were on the staff. They're just clearing house. They're trying to begin not a rebuild, but re-franchise. I don't know. That's really all I got for NBA, big NBA news. NFL, the Seahawks signed Damon Harrison to their practice squad. The Cowboys, and some more bad news for the Cowboys. Their all-pro left tackle Tyron Smith has been declared out for the rest of the season with his nagging neck injury that he's had. I hope he gets well. He's obviously one of the better tackles in our league, so hopefully he gets better. Another lineman down, Kelechi Osemele for the Chiefs. He tore tendons in both of his knees. That's just, that's terrifying. I hope he recovers well as well. Tearing tendons in both your knees. That's very unfortunate, very unfortunate. And then finally, the Falcons fired Dan Quinn and their GM, Thomas Dimitrov, after their 0-5 season. You know, whenever I talked to Falcons fans about the Falcons, it's always been that they needed to fire Dan Quinn. I was kind of trolling some Falcons fans after the Patriots won the Super Bowl because I'm a Patriots fan, and I had some Falcons fans, they complained about their offensive line, and then they complained about Dan Quinn, how he needed to be fired, and that was years ago. So, they finally fired him after starting 0-5, and even the owner of the team said that Matt Ryan might not be the guy for them. They might have to look separate ways for a new quarterback, but he said that we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes. So for some college football, number 1 Clemson beat number 7 Miami 42-17. Trevor Lawrence played well, 292 yards, 3 touchdowns. Alabama gave up a lot of points to Ole Miss, but they scored more. So number 2 Alabama won 63-48. Najee Harris had 23 carries, 206 yards, 5 touchdowns. Crazy game for him. Number 3 Georgia beats number 14 Tennessee 44-21. And Florida beats number 4 Florida beats Texas A&M 38-21. Notre Dame dismantled Florida State 42-26. North Carolina, number 8 North Carolina beats Virginia Tech 56-45. Number 13 Auburn barely beats Arkansas 30-28. Arkansas's quarterback had 318 yards and 4 touchdowns. Pretty good game for him. Number 15 BYU escapes UTSA 27-20. LSU goes down again to Missouri, unranked Missouri. LSU's not going to be ranked next week. They lost 41-45. Their quarterback had 430 yards and 4 touchdowns, but just couldn't get it done. And then, I guess an upset. Number 22 Texas loses to unranked Oklahoma. I mean, it's Oklahoma. 45-53. Sam Ehlinger had a really good game, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he carried the ball 23 times for 112 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. He had 6 total touchdowns on 399 yards. 400 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's crazy. Number 20, and finally number 24, Iowa State beats Texas Tech 31-15. That's it. That's the whole thing. We actually made it to an hour, which was really good. I was thinking we weren't gonna make it, but we did. But yeah, Lakers win the championship. I was gonna talk a little bit about Bron and MJ, but that just drag on the podcast for too long. I don't want it. Excuse me. I don't want it to be super long, so maybe we'll talk about that next time when we have no NBA games. But yeah, we'll see. Anyways, be sure to like and subscribe. You know, I know a lot of you don't make it this far into the podcast, but make sure to like and subscribe. You know, check me out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate it 5 stars, whatever you gotta do. And yeah, thank you everybody for listening and keep continuing supporting me. And yeah, let me know what more you guys want to see on the YouTube channel, because I want to branch out for sure. Alright, this has been the Talking About Podcast, and everybody take it easy.